Good morning. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Bethanne. Today I'm doing the name game book tag. I was tagged by Laura over at the Reading Mushrooms. I will link to her channel below. And the idea of this book tag is you spell out your name with books. So I decided to have sort of a little theme for what books I picked. I don't know if you could even call it that. Basically, I decided to highlight some books from my TBR that I'm excited to get to that fit with my name. So this was a kind of a good excuse to just go through my physical TBR shelf and just pull out a few books, 8 to be exact. So the first one I wanted to mention is Big Girl, Small Town by Michelle Gallen, which I've been hearing a lot about on BookTube over the last couple of weeks. So in particular, Middle of the Book March and Beating Around the Books both read this pretty recently and reviewed it and really enjoyed it. And what they had to say about it made me really intrigued. So this is a book by a Northern Irish woman and is a novel set in Northern Ireland. I think the main character works in a fish and chips shop. And the thing I keep hearing about this book is that if you enjoy the Dairy Girls TV show, you have to read this book. And I do love the Dairy Girls TV show. So I am very excited to dive into this. And also to have two booktubers whose reading tastes I really respect and think I have a lot in common with, have them review it favorably, makes me really excited about it. This was a total impulse buy. Whoops. All right, so that was for B. Then for E, we have England's Rare Mosses and Liverworts, which I talked about super briefly when I did my book haul for Princeton University Press a couple months ago when they had a big sale. Yeah, it's part field guide, so we'll have like pictures of mosses and liverworts and maps about kind of the regions where they're found in England, but then also just a lot of text. And so that's why this book to me is like readable, is it just has a lot of descriptive text about where these plants are, how long they've known about populations of these rare. Actually, I shouldn't even necessarily use the word plant. But yeah, where they're found and how long they've known about the populations, why they might be rare. Is it intrinsic to the biology, or is it due to the threats of some kind? But so there's lots of interesting text in here. So I am looking forward to reading that. All right, then I kind of cheated for the letter T because I went with the, which could describe a million books, but this is a book that I just got. I had pre-ordered it and I am so excited to read it, so I wanted to mention it and just keep my excitement going so that hopefully I pick it up sooner rather than later. This is The Disordered Cosmos, A Journey into Dark Matter, Space-Time, and Dreams Deferred by Shonda Prescott Weinstein. She is a Black Jewish theoretical, I think, physics professor. I don't know anything about physics. At the University of New Hampshire. She is incredibly active on Twitter, which is how I became aware of her. And her career is just absolutely fascinating because I think she is a brilliant, physicist, a very successful physicist. But then she has also crossed into more of a social studies anthropological career as well. And so I believe her professional appointment is actually a dual appointment in a physics department and I think a women's and gender studies department. So just incredible knowledge, able to use both quantitative and qualitative techniques in her research, researches both physics and, sort of who physicists are and who scientists are. And so I think that's what a lot of this book is about. Some of it is about sort of her scientific research and her work and presenting that in a very accessible way for a lay audience. But then, as she's mentioning here with this Dreams Deferred, I think it is also talking about kind of being Black and being a woman in science and addressing that from a professional academic lens as well. So I'm really excited about this. I've been seeing it get some good reviews around the internet. Josh over at Josh's Bookish Voyage just reviewed it recently and I think gave it 5 stars. I mean, he raved about it, so I'm pretty sure it was a 5-star read. So I am extremely excited to get to this. So the was my T pick. This is not a TBR, if that wasn't clear, but just highlighting some things that I'm particularly excited about. This book, The House at Tinford by Natasha Solomons. It's partly covered up by a sticker. This was a find in a little free library. Before the pandemic, my mom, who retired when I had my daughter, specifically so she could spend a lot of time with my daughter, would come out to Minnesota for several weeks at a time, and she was able to do that several times before the pandemic. And so every time when she was getting ready to come here, I would go around to a bunch of little free libraries and try to find books that I thought she would like. And so this is one of them. And she read it, and I think she was like, it's okay. It's worth reading. So the back of the jacket starts, the start of an affair, the end of an era. It's the spring of 1938 and no longer safe to be a Jew in Vienna. 19-year-old Elise Landau is forced to leave her glittering life of parties and champagne to become a parlor maid in England. She arrives at Tinford or Tyneford, the great house on the bay, where servants polish silver and serve drinks on the lawn. War is coming, the world is changing. The master of the great house's son Kit returns home, and he and Elise become friends. So totally sounds like the sort of thing I would enjoy. I'm looking forward to this. Then for the A in my name, we have Angela Davis, Are Prisons Obsolete?, which I bought very recently and is just sort of an absolute must read for people who care about the state of our prisons and criminal justice system, which I definitely do. So I am looking forward to reading this one hopefully soon. And then for the N, I have a book that's been on my shelf for a while. This has moved to many states with me. This is New Amazons, edited by Margaret Weiss. This is a book of short fiction, short fantasy stories that all have strong female protagonists. And Margaret Weiss is one of my favorite writers. She's one of the writers who really got me into reading with the Dragonlance, all of the Dragonlance books, but particularly the original series, the Dragonlance Chronicles, and a lot of those books she co-authors with Tracy Hickman, but then she also has a lot of books that she's written just on her own, and I do really like her as a writer. So I'm excited about this. Fantasy stories, strong female leads, I'm totally in. Then the next N book is a bit of an odd one for me. It's Naked by David Sedaris. And I don't really know anything about David Sedaris. I know this is humor. This is something I picked up for free at some point, just because I felt like I need to be sort of aware of David Sedaris and his humor, because at least 10 years ago or so, I feel like everybody was talking about him and his books. So I do want to give this a try. I assume it's the sort of thing that I'll read once, probably think some of it is funny, probably think most of it isn't, and then unhaul. So we'll see. I can be a bit odd with humor books. It doesn't always match up my humor particularly well. Okay, then the last one, the last E in my name, The Extreme Life of the Sea, which I have now mentioned on this channel several times, but I'm excited about it. And I actually encountered a booktuber who's read it, so that was Pay at Attention, who commented on one of my previous videos and was like, yeah, that was a fun book, you should read it. So that made me excited about it more than I already was. And so this is written by two scientists and is, essentially sort of like short essays or entries about just like very cool biology of creatures that live under the ocean. So this will be very fun for me. So there you have it. I spelled my name Bethanne, and highlighted just some of the things on my physical TBR shelf that I'm hoping to get to sooner rather than later. So I hope that was fun. I am not going to tag anybody because I think this tag might be a little bit older. I'm not really sure. So yeah, I won't call out anybody in specific, but if you'd like to do this tag, please let me know. I just love this sort of thing. That I know some people have been using it to just like go back over some favorites from things that they've recently read, or things that they're currently reading, or like what they literally want to get to next, sort of a TBR. So I think there's a lot of ways it could be kind of interpreted to just keep your excitement going about your books. So all right, thanks for watching. If you're new to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks. Bye.